What's up, family? This is Mekus with the Continence Club, and I am back with an interesting video. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. If you've spoken to me already one-on-one, and if you watch my videos up to this point, one thing that I know is a fact is that there aren't many of us out here that take information like this seriously. Controlling our mindsets, shifting our identities, self-improvement and evolution. I know you feel like you're the black sheep in your family. I know you feel like you're the only one in your city who is serious about self-evolution. And it seems like people around you don't want to take it seriously, and it goes in one ear and out the other. And so that's why I always say, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe, because I understand that there aren't many of us like this out here. And so it's important for us to spread this message. With that being said, in this presentation, I'm going to be discussing your self-image and why that is crucial to the identity shifting process. With that being said, it's time to demonstrate. To put it simply, your self-image is the mental picture you carry of yourself. Now, let me ask you, how have you been feeling about yourself up to this point? In your entire life up to this point, do you feel like you have more of a positive or negative self-image? Because I know for me, the majority of my life, I had a negative self-image. And to be quite vulnerable with you, a lot of that stems from the fact that I did have a childhood where I was bullied. And so a lot of that did carry on into the majority of my life. And I didn't really see myself as worthy because of what I was told whenever I was a young kid. But, I'm grateful for that because it's brought me up to this point. And, I've seen so many breakthroughs, and I've always had a chip on my shoulder. And I know you might even relate to bullying or just even some sort of experience that you might not deem positive. And the biggest thing is just using that as a mechanism to transmute that into something greater, than yourself. And now let's go ahead and dive a little deep and demonstrate a lot further. The way you see yourself determines more of your life than you realize. Your relationships, your income, your execution, your standards and decisions. And like I told you, through my bullying experience, I didn't really see myself that great. And so that really affected my relationships that I had, my personal income, execution, the standards. I didn't really feel like I was worthy to really shoot for the stars, but then I really made that internal change at some point. So even the opportunities you pursue and avoid are often tied to the image you hold of yourself internally. You might not be willing to take risks because, again, you don't feel like you're worthy enough because of probably some past experiences. And I know this because if you've talked to me one-on-one, I know a lot of the reasons why you procrastinate and do the things that you do that you don't really like are because of past experiences. So peep this, if your self-image stays the same, reality usually does too. So what I'm saying is if you see yourself in a negative light, reality is going to reflect that to you. And I'm going to dive a little deeper because reality is a mirror. And if you watch my videos up to this point, you understand that, this mirror of reality reacts to you. You think that you react to reality, but that's not the case. Who you believe you are, what you believe you deserve, what level you believe you can operate at. Understand that most people never consciously examine this. And again, you know this because, again, you're probably the only person in your city, at your workplace, at your job, in your family that knows this, right? Yet it silently controls the direction of people's lives, you know? Maybe externally it looks like you're doing fine, business is probably running decently, work may be going well, sports is cool, life in general, but internally something feels off. You feel that itch to continue to self-improve, that itch to continue to evolve your mindset and to take in more information. You know you're capable of more impact, success, freedom, whatever it is. Yet your actions don't fully align with the level you know you can operate at. And it's usually not a strategy problem. It's a self-image identity problem. It's you. Your biggest enemy is you. Your best friend as well is you. Nobody's holding you back except for you and your mindset. Let that sink in. Not the government, not your back pain, not your wrist, you know, none of that. The biggest enemy that you have, the biggest tool that you have to leverage is your state of mind, your self-image. Remember, reality is like a mirror. You may think you react to reality, but truth is reality reacts to you. If internally you see yourself as uncertain, inconsistent, not really good enough, trying to become successful, then your behavior will continue reflecting that identity. Eventually, your reality mirrors it back to you. So, to be more specific, if you're an entrepreneur, your business cannot often outgrow your self image. You may know the exact actions needed to scale, but internally you still hesitate, overthink, and second guess your decisions. You procrastinate. Not because you lack capability, but because your self image has not caught up to your potential. You probably don't think that you're good enough. And so that's what's going to reflect in your business. You see, business is often a reflection of your personal problems. Let me say that again. Business, work, a lot of the things that you engage in is not necessarily a problem in whatever it is that you're doing. It's more of a personal problem, an identity problem. And that's what I'm trying to unravel to you in this video. If you're a professional wanting a transition out of your career, right? You may constantly feel pulled towards something greater, yet still identify with this safe version of yourself. You're comfortable in that 9-to-5 job. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but I'm talking about if you're somebody who knows you want to make a transition. If you're a creator, athlete, or influencer, you may crave the next level, but internally you see yourself through the lens of your past limitations. And this creates conflict. You want one reality, but your self-image keeps recreating another. That's why in my videos, I talk a lot about outgrowing that old frequency, leaving that old frequency behind. You have to change and tailor your frequency into who it is that you want to become. Again, I say chase characters, not goals, because your reality is going to reflect that. Reality changes when the image you hold of yourself changes. Your frequency changes. That's when reality is going to change. The moment you begin seeing yourself differently, your standards rise, your decisions sharpen, and execution becomes more natural. It's because you stop operating from the identity of someone who is limited. You don't have a scarcity mindset anymore. You don't think about the negatives anymore. You start to think about the positives because that's who you are now. You start thinking about how can I make this happen instead of the things that can go wrong. You understand? So think about the version of yourself that can exist. That entrepreneur operating confidently at the next level, the professional who fully stepped into a new chapter, a new career, whatever it is, even transition out of work, the creator consistently showing up at their highest level. Literally think about that in your mind and hold that image. Visualize that, because what you think about will eventually come about. That reality begins internally first, before the money, before the success, before the relationship, before the recognition. The self-image changes first, then reality follows. Reality reacts to you, remember? So that's why I say in my videos, live in the end via the law of assumption. Acting as if, embodying that character, embodying that self-image, literally. How do you walk? How do you talk? What do you do every single day? How do you communicate? A lot of your current life is a reflection of the identity you've accepted up till this point. Not permanently or hopelessly. You have the privilege to change this, right? And that is something that can never be taken away from you. It's your birthright, but accurately, If you want a different reality, you need to begin to see yourself differently. Every single day, 24/7. Reality is constantly changing. The only constant in this world is change. Remember that. You do not rise above the image you hold of yourself consistently. Your life mirrors your self-image. So if you want to change your reality, change the way you see yourself, because once the internal image shifts, your actions, energy, standards, relationships, income, reality begin shifting with it. If you watch this video up to this point, I can tell that you really take this seriously. So feel free to reach out to me. Let's work to shift our identities together. If you're an entrepreneur, creative, working professional, or just somebody that's serious about the identity shifting process, please don't be a stranger. We got to come together, especially during these times. The world is changing, so let's shift our identities together. This is Mekus with the Continence Club. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I will see you on the other side. Talk soon.